make something that's really fast, and it's also a vegetarian dish. Eggplant fresh tomato curry. So I have my bowl of water here. I'm just going to chop my eggplants into small chunks and throw them in there to prevent the eggplant from going brown. If it's exposed to the air, it will go brown. Now, we want to heat up our pan to nice and hot. Now we want to put some oil in our pan. You can use any kind of oil you want. You can use vegetable oil. I actually happen to have some ghee that I got at the Indian market this afternoon, so I can use that. You can use butter, mixture of butter and oil, which gives a nice sort of flavor. The butter gives a good flavor to your curries. We're going to add some of our seeds to toast. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of cumin seeds. So I'm going to heat these cumin seeds up until they start to brown a little bit in the oil. While that is cooking, we want to get our spices ready. If you're using ground coriander, you don't need to do this step. You can just use the ground, but I like to grind my own. So I'm going to use about a teaspoon of ground coriander. I like coriander a lot. It gives a nice flavor, so I'm never shy on the coriander. Alright, we have that prepared. Okay, the cumin is starting to brown nicely, so now we want to put in our onion. I have about a half of an onion chopped here. And we're going to stir that up till it browns a little bit. Don't be shy on the oil that we add to this dish. You want a good about 3 tablespoons of oil, because we're going to fry up our eggplant in this. And a little bit of oil allows the eggplant to get a nice brown skin, and there's a nice richness that comes from cooking an eggplant and browning the skin a little bit. Okay, the onion is browning now with the cumin. Don't be afraid to let the onion brown. It really gives a depth of flavor. And we've got quite a bit of oil in here. I'm just going to put the onion off to the side a little bit, because I'm going to put the eggplant in now. So I'm just going to take the eggplant out of the water. It's going to splatter a bit because of the water. Alright, now we want to cook that up at a good high temperature to let the eggplant brown a little bit. If you can brown the skin of the eggplant a little, it really adds a nice flavor to it. Alright, so we're going to let that cook. So far we've been going for about 10 minutes. I've browned the onion. I've now added the eggplant. This is going to cook for maybe 5 minutes. I actually just added a little bit of oil. We want to make sure that the eggplant fries in the oil and cooks at a high heat. We don't want it to cook at a low heat and get too mushy. Alright, it's been about 3-4 minutes, and it's given a chance for the eggplant skin to brown and sear a little bit on the outside, but they're not cooked by any means. So now we want to add our spices. What are we going to add? We're going to add our ground coriander, about a tablespoon there. We're going to add a teaspoon of turmeric, about the same amount of garam masala, we're going to add about 4 large cloves of garlic to that. We're going to add about an inch chopped up of ginger. We're also going to add some tomato, pureed tomato, about 1/4 cup. Maybe a little bit more. That's probably more like 1/3 of a cup. I'm going to stir that up. The smell coming off of that is amazing. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit more. That's looking a bit dry. I'm going to add a little bit more tomato. So it's got a bit of a sauce consistency. And I'm going to cover that to let that cook for a little bit, and I'm going to reduce the heat to low. Okay, this has been cooking for about 5 minutes. Ooh, that looks nice. It's reduced down quite nicely. The eggplant is cooked. Delicious. Now we want to add chopped tomato, a full chopped tomato into the mix. But make sure you stir down if it's got some bits stuck to the bottom of the pan. Make sure you stir that off, deglaze that off a little bit. It's going to give you some extra flavor. And oh, that looks and smells delicious. If you want, it's probably not a bad idea, a little sprinkle of salt over the top of that. You're set.